Getting right to the heart of the big rock stories. The 6 o'clock Rock Report in association with Hot Press Radio Nova.
When I was away on honeymoon over the last couple of weeks, I read this great book poolside in Mexico called Up All Night. It's available here from Eason's. I've seen it on the shop shelves. It's also available online, eason.com. The author of the book is a lady called Marty Miller, and she's on the phone right now from New York City. Where do I start with you, lady?
Well, I'll tell you something. First of all, hi, and I hope you guys are okay. We were having a hell of a time here in New York with the big storm and everything, you know.
Well, you guys have had quite the lot of fun. I know in your building where you work out of every single night, you've had loss of power in downtown Manhattan. It's been quite the fun over the past couple of weeks. Now,
yeah,
of course, it's the
crazy.
big...
For most of us, I think, a lot of us, it's just been a terrible inconvenience. But for so many people, they've lost their homes. They've been washed away from, near the water because it was the ocean rising that, the water perpetrated everywhere. And, we've had deaths. So it's been very devastating in the area.
And of course, today is the big election day. Have you been out to vote? And your friend Bruce Springsteen has been doing the rounds with Barack Obama?
Well, right. He's been going all over the place. But no, I'm going to be voting after this.
Okay.
But I did want to tell you, you were talking about, you just talked about two subjects that I have in my book very directly. Now, my book is called Up All Night, My Life and Times in Rock Radio. That's the punchline, because I do what you do, and I've been doing it for my whole life.
You're doing it a hell of a lot longer than I'm doing it, girl.
Hey, I don't know. That's a compliment. But anyway, in the book, I basically... kind of try to take you on what I call a little cultural chronicle, what it was like to be there at various places, growing up in the second half of the 20th century in New York and getting involved in all the radio and going to everywhere and meeting everybody. And two of the things that you just mentioned, first of all, John Lennon, the Dakota building, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of it and everything where it happened,
Of course, I've been there. I've stood, unfortunately, at that very sad spot where John was gunned down. But this is something I was talking about on the radio earlier. Now, do you still live up around?
Yes.
You do. Okay. Now, you noticed Mark Chapman a couple of days previously standing outside that building. You thought there was something kind of strange with all of that. He was standing there clutching that album, right? Yes,
he was. And in one of the chapters in the book, I tell that story, and I tell it in real detail because it's something you can't forget. I mean, living next door to that building, you're always seeing people kind of hanging around looking for John Lennon. But the problem really was that the building actually allowed them to hang around.
Yeah.
They would shoo them away. It was as simple as saying, leave, 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 leave. And, they might have frisked somebody. But I tell the exact story of seeing him come back day after day. And then what happened that night.
It's a scary thought. It's a scary story. And you do go into great detail within the book, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing you mentioned, you were talking about George Harrison's wife, Patty Boyd. Mm-hmm. I do have a chapter in there where I get to meet her. She's already with Eric Clapton in 1975. And he is doing a jam session with the Stones at Electric Lady Recording Studios in New York. And I was very fortunate to be a guest. So I spent the evening talking to Layla, and she had already been crowned Layla.
Isn't that incredible? At the time when you were talking to Patty Boyd, talking to Layla, did you realise that she was going to go down in history that way?
Actually, in my mind, she already had, because as I tried to describe in the book, being a real 60s fan, of all the looks and the models and everything like that, she was one of the people that I was just so enamored of. Like, if I could look like that, I want to wear those clothes and this and that and the other thing. So she was one of my fun type of idols. And when I did meet her, I said to her, it was funny, she was wearing a certain pair of shoes in real life. And I said, hey, those are really nice. Where'd you get your shoes? And she told me the name of a store off Broadway, which happens to still be there down my block. And I said, oh my goodness, I can't believe this, that I'm still wanting to wear all the clothes that you wear, even in the movie and now in real life,
We're talking here with Marty Miller on Radio Nova. Carol has written a book called Up All Night. It is available here in Ireland. You can check it out on eason.com. Carol, I read your book while I was on holidays, while I said, you went out with Steven Tyler.
Yeah, I did. That's a pretty strange story. as I open it up. I really didn't intend to, if you can believe that. But I do open up the book with a story about how I met him and how he, I thought he was dead because he took so many pills and passed out in his bed. And it's a pretty funny story. And I never expected to see him again. I was not there to go out on a date. I was there because he was playing me the Draw the Line album, some of the tracks, in his hotel room. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to sleep." And that's
Off he went.
where that story starts. But then, and I would never had any intention of seeing him because I thought he was crazy. But then he started coming around the radio station where I do exactly what you do. So he was showing up at night, and it was like, what should I do? Sit in my what do you call it, a bed sitter apartment or studio or
apartment? Yeah.
Tyler?
Jeez.
So I picked door number 2.
It really is a very good read. Of course, there is a sad side to your story, one which your listeners wouldn't have been aware of as you went through it time after time after time after time. But you were really hit badly with breast cancer, and proceeds from your book are going to breast cancer awareness and research. In fact, is it something like 5%?
Yes, it's what it is the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, which is one of the big charities here in the States that is really very effective in finding, treatments and cures. In fact, my doctor is the head of it. And so I had that very badly, and I also had internal. It runs in the family. And so what I talk about in the book is, going through all the years of surgery and treatment, and this I'm never telling anybody because I didn't want the listeners to. It's not the kind of thing you want to.
Sure.
Have fun, you don't want to hear your sad story. So it's kind of a story of like how just a person being me deals with a million things like everybody else does, but they're kind of unusual things,
Well,
between rock and roll and
It really is a very, very good story, dealing with, you from day one, finding music, going to see the Beatles in O'Shea Stadium in the mid-60s, right through to 9/11 and beyond. And you're still doing a nightly radio show in New York City on Q1043 in the city. You do syndicated radio programs right around the US. And listen, continued success with what you do. The book is a good read, a really good read. It's called Up All Night. And as I say,
thank you so much.
It's available now at eason.com. And thank you for my signed copy, which I picked up in New York 2 weeks ago. I like your style.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Marty. It's an honor to be on your show. And hi to, let's see, I have so many friends here from Dublin.
Do you?
And I know all their folks and family are listening. So let's see if Barry Reed's family is listening. Hello.
The famous Carol Miller, hello. I like it. Carol, so nice to talk to you. And as I say, continued success with everything you do. Thank you so much for chatting with us on Radio Nova's Rock Report. The book is out right now. It's called Up All Night, and you can get it from Eason.
First, with the rock news you need to know. The 6 o'clock Rock Report, in association with Hot Press, Radio Nova.